the meeting of the Lincoln Parish Library Board of Control. We don't have a glass like the police jury, but that was it. All right, Hazel? Okay. First on the agenda is approval of the agenda. May I have comment, motions for whatever for the agenda?
Augusta, in, I guess to be of service to our two people that would like to speak to you all, I would like to make the motion that we change the order of the unfinished business.
Okay.
And that we move the recommendation for board replacement up to take the place of the web.
Okay.
And we move that down, and so that way we would not detain anyone that would like to come before the board.
Okay, all right.
Items, and so it's simply just to move the recommendation up to the web placement and let it be number 1 rather than number 3.
Okay, well, we
And
need
so
to
I make
vote
that
on
motion
that
at this time.
in terms of being able to, and this one, I think Robert Waller said it must be a roll call vote.
It has to be unanimous.
And
It has to be a
we
roll
need
call.
Need a second on it before.
Okay.
I second.
All right, been moved in second, that we make changes on the agenda, moving the 2 applicants up before the web page and the strategic plans. All in favor, may I hear? Yay?
I think it has to be roll call.
I thought it had to be roll call.
No, it just has to be unanimous.
Well, then.
Roll call,
You
1,
may
2, 3, 4,
decide by raising your
5.
hand.
All right, that's
Okay.
good. Okay, thank you
Good.
very much. Approved. Okay, and it's with that we will go first in terms of trying to hear from the applicants. We're so very pleased to have both of our applicants with us today. We have Amy Miller, and we also have, Jay, help me how to pronounce your last name? Lagon, all right. I know, I guess so. Okay, all right. If you don't mind, either of you can be first.
Madam President, I don't want to be a pain, and you know what, but I think I need to stand outside because the jury is also going to be recommending on me, and so to avoid any conflict of interest, I will wait outside while the 2 presentations are made, and then I will not vote on either one.
That sounds
If that's
excellent,
okay.
David. Okay,
All right.
and if Jason go first, we'll ask Patty to sit out if she doesn't mind, okay?
Let them sit down here.
Come on, Jay. Come on.
David, could you restate why you're not voting on either one?
Right, I will not vote on this.
Why are you not voting?
Well, because the board is recommending, and they're also recommending me, and I thought it might be a conflict of interest, but I
I
would,
can't imagine.
well, I want to avoid any conflicts.
Don't see one, but your choice.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Is it okay if I take off the mask?
Sure.
Is that okay?
Okay, some in this room are old and don't hear well. I'm not going to call any names, but keep that in mind, please.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think everyone has received a copy of Jay's resume, and we have also, I think, forwarded to you a copy of a statement as to why he would like to be a part of the board. However, I would like for him, we had the opportunity, me and whoever it was, hearing them at the police jury. But at that police jury meeting, I also indicated it was not fair for me to hear them and for not the other members on the board to hear them as well. So that's why we've asked them to come and to say to us what they'd like to tell us and to give us an opportunity to ask some questions of you. It's on you, Jay.
Okay. So my name is Jay Lagon. I've been wanting to join this board for about a year and a half. I've been in conversation with the director, Ms. McCain. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
Vivian McCain. I've been in contact with her trying to do this. And the reason I want to do it quite simply is I want to give back. That's all I'm after here. When I came to Ruston, I've lived in a lot of different places around the world in my profession. And when I came here, I was just impressed deeply with Ruston and the generosity I saw, whether it was the Halloween events that you guys have, where whole entire communities are out there giving out candy, you've got police guiding. I was just blown away, as a parent. I've never seen that before, and I started noticing it more and more, just in the way people were and the way they'd interact with you. And I got really impressed with Ruston, and I actually left at one point for my career, had some opportunities that my company wanted me to go with, and and when I was ready to finish that chapter, I came back, and I came back to Tech, and I came back because I like Ruston, and I like Louisiana Tech. And since then, I've been wanting to find my place. When the hurricane struck a year ago, I was out for 3 days with my friends pulling trees out of people's yards. I've been working with international students, and when the COVID thing happened, it didn't just happen here, it happened everywhere. We raised $26,000 to give to these students. And I mean, this is just kind of, I guess, who I am. I just want to contribute. I want to be a positive part of the community. I've loved libraries ever since I was a kid. Saturdays, I'd get my mom to drop me off to the library, and I would literally challenge myself to see if I could find a book on a given topic. And that was just what I did, who I am, and it's never left me. This library is gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's got amazing resources, and I see people from all kinds of lifestyles coming in here and using them. And that's so impressive. I'm hoping that the skills I have, I'm hoping that the background I have, the interest in diversity that I have from working with international students around the world, I'm hoping that can be of some value. And if it can't, then I want what's best for the library. But if it can, then I certainly want to sign up and do all I can there.
Okay, thank you. Questions from board members, please?
We know where everyone lives in the parish. Where do you live in the parish?
So I just moved just a few days ago. I used to live in Hidden Valley. I was a renter for about 3 years. My wife commended us. It was the longest we've ever lived anywhere. It was 3 years because of all the moving that I've had to do. But we just bought a home in French Quarters. And so I live in Decatur. And I will let anyone who would like to drive me home tonight see that house up front because I had to get picked up. Thank you. I said you again. But I am looking for a ride home, and I would be happy to give you a curbside tour.
Just curious, because we are parish-wide.
Yes.
Yeah. You do have a library card.
Oh, I have 7. I have the little bitty guy. I've got the big guy. My daughter, who's 10, has had one. She's had a library card I think as early as 5 when we first lived here. My wife has a library card. I have books out, I think, right now in my home. One of them's almost overdue, but I'm going to get that out. We check out the little tablets you guys have for kids. We love those things. My daughter uses them all the time. We participate in the summer reading club. My daughter comes to the events that we have scheduled over here with all the little kind of activities for the kids to do. You guys have a great thing going here.
How old is your daughter?
She's 10.
Having been interested in the library, what do you see the biggest issue facing the library in the next 3 years or 1 year, or whatever, what time frame you think?
This library specifically?
This library specifically. You can tie that to the libraries in general if you wish.
I always felt that there seems to be a small sliver of a population that utilizes the library religiously to some degree, and then it's unused by so many others. And I see a real strength here that it's used by so many different people in the community. If I were a part of the board, if anyone were willing to give me any freedom or autonomy to do something, the first thing I would do is I would survey the community. I would pull together focus groups, figure out which sort of services they would like to see. The library wouldn't just serve me, it serves the entire population, the community. That's what I would do. And then I would use the information I gathered to form ideas and strategies and bounce those off of the people that I worked with in some sort of participative way. I wouldn't want to come in and say ABC and let's go. Does that answer your question?
No.
No. So I think if I were going to be bold and say that my opinion matters more so than the residents of Ruston or the parish, I would simply say that the thing I would like to see is I'd like to see our residents become more successful. I'd like to see them have more resources available for them so that they can maybe strike out on small business ideas. I think that having things like kind of the enterprise center over here for Louisiana Tech, having services like that on how to start businesses, how to do something small and make sure it's legal and that you can get money, things like that that would benefit our residents and benefit our economy and our community, that's something I would be interested in.
My question is almost with, I think Charles is, can you be specific, since you've been in the library quite a bit, you come in here and use it, your family, and just give me one suggestion on something that you have seen in here and experienced that we can improve on, not by quantum leap, just something very simple that will make the library a better place.
I would have a book request form, a magazine subscription request form, something like this. This goes back to that original idea of trying to get feedback from the community. To get something ordered, you currently have to go to the librarian, and it is put into a something. I've never known what they do once I make the request because I've never seen what I've requested ordered. Now I know there's budgetary issues, but I think if that were a more transparent process, your patrons would be pretty satisfied with knowing that their requests were valued.
Okay, are there other questions from the board? Hearing
What you
none.
have is, that you turned in, which was quite thorough, so I appreciate your enhancement and your interest.
I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
We thank you so very
Yes,
much for your time, and we thank you also for your interest, and we will be getting back with you.
Well, I hope someone would get back with me at the end of the meeting because I can use a ride.
I'm gonna give you a ride home. My husband will give you a ride home.
Oh, that would be
My
wonderful.
husband will give you a ride home.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Jay just contacted me today to say that it was an accident last night, so we're glad that you survived without getting injured, and we understand that David came to the rescue, and thank you all for the rescue for helping me get home.
Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good night.
I wanted to get my sign.
Yeah, you should get your sign. Here's your sign.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay, so we're at the rest of the conversation.
Is that something you might do?
Yes, sir. That's my fault. That might be some of their fault.
Thanks again.
Jump up there.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. A friend of mine told me, I can have even though I can see the shadow. Okay. Are y'all ready for, do y'all want me to speak or do they want to ask me?
off if you don't mind.
Okay, yeah, because I'm sorry, I'm not sick or anything,
No,
but I'm losing
no.
my voice. I've had several meetings with clients and for organizations that I'm in, and I've been speaking a lot, and so it's starting to just go out on me. So I normally do not sound like a frog, and if you can't hear me, I'll try to speak as loud as possible. But my name is Amy Miller. I'm an attorney here in Ruston. I came before the police jury, and I'm really excited I get to come meet you all as well. I wrote a little letter. I don't know if y'all got a copy of it. Y'all seen my, everybody's not even had it. Okay, don't repeat that. Okay. So I wrote y'all a little letter just to tell you a little bit more about myself. I'm originally from Bossier. I grew up in Bossier. My mom, though, is from Ruston. So I spent like all my weekends and summers coming over here, seeing my grandparents, my aunts, uncles, cousins. And now it's very awesome that I live here and I live in the house that my mom grew up in, where I played and fished as a kid and things like that. So it's really exciting, and I want to find a way to give back to the Lincoln Parish community in some way. And I thought, what better way than to be on the Library Board of Control, because I have a lot of experience in this. You probably saw in my letter, I lived in Lafayette after law school for about a little over 4 years. And in Lafayette, when I started there, there was a partner in my firm who was coming off the library board of control, and she knew that I was an English major in college, and I was very interested in literature, and I loved writing and reading, and she'd gotten to know me well. So she said, Amy, I think you'd be perfect if you want to start coming to our meetings. I'll introduce you to the board, and maybe recommend you if you want to be on their board. And I ended up getting on their board of control. And Lafayette's a pretty big system. When I got on, we were in the process of renovating the main library in Lafayette. And I got to be a part of that being completed and reopening the main library, which is a beautiful facility. It's worked out really well. And they were just in the process of building all of their regional libraries. So they had a lot of little satellite locations that were in maybe little shopping centers, things like that. But Lafayette Parish is pretty big, so they ended up building kind of regional libraries in Karen Crow and Scott, kind of situated around the main library. And when I came on the board, one of them was already built. 2 of them were already built. We completed the third one, and we broke ground on the fourth one before I left. And it is now completed. I got to see it, and unfortunately didn't get to go to the grand opening of it, but it looks really good as well. So I have a lot of experience, though, in building libraries and working with library administration, and also in working with the local government. When I was in Lafayette, I was an assistant city attorney. So in my office, I worked for a private firm, but we did contract work for the city government. So they would send us cases, and I was the assistant city attorney to help. Oftentimes, the city attorney was just asking me questions like, hey, can you research this and give me an answer on what's our proper procedure here? Could you look at this contract that we're trying to put together? Obviously, I couldn't look at anything for the library board and give that board legal advice. Your board has an attorney for that. But being an attorney on the board, it was nice to just have that additional perspective when we were trying to make a decision, like, hey, maybe this is something the city attorney should look at. Maybe we should ask this question. Or just knowing kind of where to look if there is a legal question, like, is there an AG opinion out on this, an attorney general opinion out there on this already? And I could kind of give them just some basic guidance, not necessarily be their lawyer, but it was nice having a lawyer, I think, on the board for that purpose. So I'm kind of rambling, I'm sorry. But so basically, though, I just evaluated what my skill sets are, what my experience is, and I feel like this would be a good fit for me to give back to my Lincoln Parish community, because I love the libraries and I love Lincoln Parish, and that's why I'd like to be considered for your board. And if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them.
Open it up for questions, please.
Discounting whatever the cost might be, do you see within Lincoln Parish a need for outlying branches?
I think I haven't had anyone in Lincoln Parish directly say that they feel like there needs to be maybe actually a brick and mortar additional libraries. What we found in Lafayette, so one of the issues we had is that we had these 4 great regional libraries, but the north side of Lafayette, so everything essentially that was east of our main library, they called it the north side of town, it did not have a regional library in it. And people started kind of getting funky about that. They were like, this is an underserviced part of our area. What should we do with it? Should we build another one? And we actually started coming up with some creative solutions to really use what we had and bring it there. And I know that actually Lincoln Parish had a bookmobile, or maybe still does, but I know I've heard of it in the past. So they actually ended up getting a bookmobile that serviced a lot of the parts of the north part of town as well. So I think I would probably want to look at, just because it's so expensive to build and run a brick and mortar library, and what we decided in that case was that let's try some of these other things, like little library boxes that people can use, or bookmobiles that people can use, and see how much they use it, and then determine should we come in and rent a new place or build a new place as well. So I didn't stay long enough to see what they decided on that, but so my answer is a little convoluted in that I would kind of want to explore with other options ways to service different parts of the parish to see what the needs are, and then proceed with deciding where it could be built, where it could be built.
Other questions?
Were you there when they implemented the virtual library cards?
No, I don't think so. I don't recall hearing about that. Was that
They do that now there, but I was just wondering, it's probably pretty recent.
That sounds very recent.
It's only the second year.
Oh, okay, so yeah, and I've been in Ruston for about 3 years, so
Oh.
I'm not, but I'm very close with them, so if I need a place to call, I can talk to Teresa down there, I think she's still the director. Yeah, I can talk to Miss Teresa, and I can ask her, it sounds like you know her, so, but I haven't, that sounds like a good idea, just anything innovative in technology, I feel like a lot of people get it in their minds, oh, the library's a place with paper books, it's obsolete, I don't need it. And it's like they have so much, like just go look it up. We've got apps on your phone, you can listen to audiobooks and read books and all of that stuff.
So you live geographically within the city of Ruston?
I do, I live off of kind of West Kentucky. If you're going down Cooktown, you get to the four-way stop, I live on West Kentucky up there. So I live in the city limits. Now, if you go across my pond in the backyard, you're going to be out of the city limits.
Well, that
I'm in the city limits. But I'm still in the parish, yes. And my husband's a Lincoln Parish Sheriff's deputy, so we have to live within the parish.
Have you had an opportunity to use this particular library since you've been here?
I have checked out some books, and it occurred to me I was checking out some books with my son. Let's see, it was probably 2 weeks ago, maybe. And they asked me something about the app that y'all have, and I said, well, yeah, I use it all the time. And I realized that it was still hooked up to my Lafayette library card. So I use the app and the ebooks all the time, but it was hooked up to my Lafayette card. So I love using the audiobooks. That's one of my big things because I love to read, but I'm finding with a little baby and a job, it's way easier to put an audiobook on in your car, and you can catch a lot more, and it keeps me off the news, which is depressing.
Yeah, true.
Are you going to get your library card transferred to here?
I have a library card. I had Overdrive, and I think y'all have used Overdrive. It's an app.
Yeah.
And so I had Overdrive, but my Overdrive was still linked to my Lafayette card. I have my Lincoln Parish card though. So I think it just didn't cut me off down there. It's on the Overdrive. So, but I noticed that recently, and I was like, and that's what I would primarily use. I would use my Overdrive account.
If you had to make one recommendation for our library, what would be something very simple that you would say that we may need to consider here at Lincoln Parish to improve? Something very simple, something very easy we can do.
Oh, let's see. Well, off the top of my head, that sounded good about virtual library cards, and that seemed maybe potentially easy. I'm not sure how easy that is. But I also, and I saw some implementation of this through COVID on your Facebook and your social media. Putting out virtual resources for story time and just engaging with the community a lot more on social media, because if we're engaging with those patrons and getting them, even if they're not coming in, we're telling them about Overdrive. Hey, you've got your library card number, just go sign up and you can look up a book. Something easy that I think this library can do, not to say that you don't do it, because I have seen activity on your social media accounts and it looks great, but just more of that. I think it says on your website that y'all are redoing the website or something like that. Any of those kind of things that are not too difficult, but just engages more with the public and patrons, so you're getting them using it more and you're letting them know these kind of resources they may not know about, that aren't the paper books on the shelves, that are these electronic and technological resources, because that's what they're going to be looking at when they're going and voting on things like your millages and your taxes. They're going to be like, do I use the library? Do I need it? And if they found some nice little resource that you've posted about on Facebook, they're going to be like, oh, I love the library. I love Overdrive. I love my audiobooks. So.
Are there any other questions for Amy?
Have read your resume. Impressive.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Okay, thank y'all so much.
Thank you so very much for your interest.
And thank you for having us first. I'm not going to stay for the remainder of the meeting. My son's birthday is tomorrow. He's turning 1 year old, so I got to go tie up some loose ends.
Yeah.
But I look forward to seeing you all.
Okay, thank you.
And you will hear from us. Thank you so much. though David was interviewed by us in the August meeting, and his name was submitted to the police jury to be reappointed to his position, I thought it's best that he comes back before us and also do very much like the other two have done. Because at the last police jury meeting, he also spoke. So we're going to keep it pretty much the same across the board so that we know questions about why not. David,
All right.
you're here. Tell us why you want to be
I will certainly do that, and I know this is redundant because you've heard it before, but Augusta wore such a ravishingly pretty outfit that evening that all attention was on her, and so she got her way with everything. But you see, what the police jury wanted was for whoever is to be put on the board, there would be an interview, and that's what Augusta was saying, that we would like to have these people to come through the board. So, well, to avoid any conflict, I thought it would be very appropriate for me to do the same thing. So, I sent my same resume as the others did for you to see. I sent a paragraph about why I would like to be on the board, and I tried to imitate everything exactly that I heard that the board said that they would like. So this is why I would like to be on the board. I mentioned in my paragraph that I'm a lifelong practically resident of the parish, and that in my earlier years I was excited about the bookmobile coming, which was my first time to have an experience with the library. One of our neighbors from the Wesley Chapel area, which is where I grew up, was Norma Jean Martin. And Norma Jean drove that bookmobile like she would drive an 18-wheeler. It went everywhere. And she was such a delight to know personally, as well as the bookmobile director. And it actually came into my front yard and stopped. And I don't know why, but I suspect it's because she knew me. And then all the neighbors' kids or whatever would come over, and we would all get to go in and pick out books. And like I said, that's my first experience. Then I went to Ruston High, and then I went on to Tech. And time after time, I had opportunity to come to the library, the old one over there, and enjoy the research activities and so forth, although computers were not the main item of the library at that time. It was books, it was tapes, if you can remember that far back. It was an opportunity to look at reference books and so forth to enhance stuff that would go on at Tech. And sometimes the Tech library, you couldn't get a book, and so you could come to the local library, you could get the same book and it would not be checked out, you could have it. So I had a good experience there, and then on through graduate school, and I continued to use it for research purposes. So I had a fond allegiance to the library board, not knowing about a control board or anything like that. I didn't know who ran it. I did know Mr. Snyder and did respect him greatly as really a good English person, but also a community activist, and he wanted the library to exist, and come hell or high water, it happened, and so I'm always grateful to him for that. But then this marvelous thing that happened here, the Albertsons and the opportunity for our library to grow, and the opportunity as Sam Hardy Williams from Simsboro went off the board. Bobby Dallin was on the police jury at that time, and Bobby asked would I be interested in coming to interview for the board. And at that time, I don't remember who was on the board, but I interviewed, and I think there were 2 or 3 people that interviewed for a slot on this board as Sam Hardy Williams exited. And it wasn't that he voted off, he just had other things to do and said that there should be someone from the Simsboro area. So I dressed up and came for an interview, and lo and behold, they put me on the board, and I have served ever since. I have enjoyed it. It's not like you're on the board to make a salary, because we don't get any, and you don't get travel. It's more of a service to the community. It's an opportunity to watch care over the public's money. It's an opportunity to see that our library stays competitive with other libraries. And let's face it, we've got more opportunities for communication between libraries and people are more mobile. So our library is very much in competition for being in the top 10 or the top 5 or whatever, as Vivian said one time. And when I went out of state one time on vacation, I went to a library like this, and it was nothing to compare. The carpet had holes, the restrooms didn't work, the doors stuck, and I'm thinking, we as a board don't accept that. We want things nice, clean, neat, safe, and so forth. And I began to see my role on the board to watch care over that, and I went through the last election that we had for valorem, and it passed. And so I'm going to work my darndest to help put out signs and to talk to people and see if they will again vote for our millage that we have. And if you put all that together, it's kind of like a labor of love. It's something that I would like to say that I did for the community, but it would also be something that I would do for myself because I use the library repeatedly to check out books and to check out CDs. And one of these days I'll be in Hoopla and I'll know what to do to check out something there. I'm not to that point yet, but if you put all that in a pot and stir it up, you get a year and year of backlog of experiences and so forth. And so that's why I would like to continue, if we're not, to get through this tax election and to make sure the watch care of that 2-point-something billion is provided appropriately to everybody. It's equal, there's equality, there's equity, and I just enjoy serving with all of you because I know you have the same interest. You may not have been in the community as long, but I think you have the same interest. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I like it.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for David?
Have a library card.
It is used regularly. Now, Augusta, if you want another vote, I'll go back outside and finish my coffee, and you can re-vote everything that you like.
I would like for you to go back outside. I'd like
The
to
last
ask
time
you-
y'all talked about me and so forth, and so do so liberally,
Okay.
and tell me when to come back in.
I certainly will. I've come to the conclusion that we're going to take a vote by ballot. It's very important for this position and for this vote, I think, because of the last meeting that I attended with the police jury. We talked about the fact that we wanted to be very fair, and we wanted to be transparent, and we wanted to make sure that things were done pretty much in the same way that it should be done. So I'm saying that to say, I don't want to put you under any pressure to think somebody has to say you voted for or didn't vote for. But I would like for you to mark the ballot. We don't have to vote on David. David is already in there.
Right.
In fact, my little letter to Vivian tonight saying, because David was already, we're going to send that same letter that we sent to Doug Postel back in August, recommending David. We're just going to put the name of the person that we're going to decide tonight to fill the slot for Gay O'Neill. Now, would you please be so kind as to fill out that little ballot, and I'm going to get up and collect and tally and pretty much say thank you. And since I'm standing right here, why don't I do this right here next to Miss, what's her name? Mary Jo Cooper?
It's going to start snowing in here in a minute.
Could be.
Why?
It's chilly.
I don't feel it. Okay, tally for
I do.
Mary Jo.
Okay, got it.
Jay. Amy. 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 Jay. Jay. Amy. Jay.
Oh my gosh. Is it a tie?
School board.
Yep.
It's a time.
I'm gonna say this, that's because they're both great. Yes. Didn't y'all think they were both wonderful?
Mhm.
Yes. It's hard to pick. They have such good, they're bringing such skills and information to us. It's really hard to pick. Either one of them would be great. But I did see advantages in both, so.
Madam Chair, what you gonna do?
I'd like to have both of them on the board, but I know we can't do that. But basically,
Well, you have somebody going off next year.
we do.
Yeah, there's somebody else goes off next year. I can't remember who it is.
So,
It might
but-
be me or you.
It might be me, I don't know.
Yours is 23.
And ours is 22. Yours is
I'm not
9.
going anywhere.
Oh,
I can still come.
oh,
I can. It's open to the public, right?
okay, well, what I think with that in mind, knowing that one probably would be able to come again later on, whoever gets us this time, we'll just encourage the other one to reapply for the next go round, and that would be a good fit for us. What do you think?
Yeah, but how do we?
I know, I'm trying to work this
Well,
out.
what she just said, United should, go ahead and tell me.
I just have one question I should have asked Amy. With Amy being so busy, will she be able to attend the meetings?
This is in her work time, 4 o'clock.
And she's got a 1-year-old.
She has
And
1 year old,
I thought so.
but I should have asked.
So with that in mind, I'm not asking you to vote over. Say, flip the coin.
What did you say?
Flip the coin.
Flip a coin.
Maybe we
Like you
want,
ask somebody else, Caleb or Chris,
Well,
what they
I
think.
was just down for you to ask what I thought. I don't have any technical competency or professional expertise to really state anything at this point, other than I've made one observation, and that is, Jay's a teacher. How many of you want to work teaching or experience? in
Or
education?
educators. Most everybody.
all of us.
How many of you have a law degree? That's just my observation.
Yeah.
Just as a
So what are you saying then? The observation comes, but what are you implying?
Just as a matter of creating diversification and professional competency among the board members in the aggregate. Jay's correct. So I don't have anything against teachers.
Okay, and then let me say something I noticed, a difference
Well,
about,
like I said, I don't have any basis for,
Yeah.
That's just your opinion.
for, advising you in any way. That's just a observation I made.
Well, we asked for it and we got it. Okay, because let me say one other thing too, because I know that was a concern prior to some years ago, where they were trying to get some of the teachers off of this board because they felt that they had too many educators. Am I correct, Lydia? All right, I know my history.
Well, I was not.
Teachers are
Okay, but I'm just saying, I'm just saying you know history, I'm coming back from history.
I'm just
And I was
asking
trying to
about
say,
history.
and one other point of history that I will make. Did you have something to say?
what, do you have an observation or anything like that?
Anyway,
I did not hear that he was a teacher actually, and I'm not quite sure that just, I don't know what he teaches. That would be of interest to me. As a female, I don't like to hear anybody being excused because they have children, but I can understand that. Might be of someone's concern, but I equally think that they would both serve the board very well.
Is he a teacher or is he a director of the,
I thought he was an administrator.
Yeah.
He had taught.
I don't have his resume, I don't know.
I have his resume. I
think he's a-
taught, but
yeah,
he's
okay.
not
International, I think it's international.
Administrator.
Over international
He's an
students,
administrator.
that's what he said.
I think he brings a wealth of library experience that none of us have, just geographically, having been in libraries, and I think he could be very creative with lots of new ideas.
What is his?
He is the chair of the International Recruitment and Marketing at AACRAO, whatever that is.
Well, I'll say this, I liked the fact that he has lived all over the world. And he is working with international students, with a lot of diversity. He brings a wealth of knowledge other than Ruston,
Yes.
which I like that. And I think he's sharp, like technology-wise and everything. He has a lot, he has to be to do what he's doing. And I'm worried about the fact that it seems like we're not, maybe not reaching out, providing materials for all people here in town. And we're getting more and more diverse all the time. And even just the Hispanic population, I wish we had more resources for everyone. So I did like that about him. And he asked in the card, did we have a strategic plan for the
Well, the very
library?
first step for a true strategic plan is focus groups. And I love the fact that
He wanted
he
that.
wanted to begin some
Right.
focus groups here.
You want the
I
people,
wanted to do that a long time.
right,
I have a question.
so,
Yes,
Yes.
Caleb,
I'm not going to weigh in, but I had a question. Dr. Gillette didn't vote on this, right?
he's not gonna vote.
Right. So I'm looking at 7 board members, right? How did we tie?
With Vivian?
You voted. Okay. That's what I was
Maybe
missing.
I shouldn't vote.
Why shouldn't you?
No, I
no,
think you should.
no, you should.
I think you should.
I wasn't trying to say that. I just thought the board was voting.
Good math, Kate. So
Okay.
should we re-vote or just discuss, or what do you think?
Or would you take it upon to make the president break the tie? Or you can vote again.
Or Vivian, with Vivian?
Why don't I sit out and
Getting
y'all
it
vote?
straight.
Yeah, let me sit out and y'all vote again.
Why?
Because I'm okay either way. And I get to work with everybody.
And that would break the tie.
I'll accept that.
Well, if we remove Vivian, the vote will go for Amy.
Before we decide, has anybody changed their mind to switch to anybody?
Does anybody, what was your question?
Change their mind.
Oh,
Anybody want
Would
to
we
switch?
just do another ballot
That's a good
vote?
question.
Because that way no one knows, if we did a ballot vote first, we should probably do another ballot vote.
I would recommend that you do another ballot rather
Yeah.
than just
We can
removing
just turn it
hers
over
and
to
asking
the
around
Yeah.
informally.
Okay, so that means I only
Tear
have
off
balance.
half of that and just give everybody one.
Or just hand them back and we'll,
Okay, add them back, all right, add them back, add them back.
we're big boys and girls.
We'll
I'll
vote
help
on
you
the
if you
back.
can pass them out.
Yes, please, that goes down.
You want us to
I
put our
don't
names
get
in?
it.
Are you not?
You want us to put our names in?
I'm gonna put that on my back. Everybody's account.
This is the June 23rd agenda packet.
Three,
Thank you.
right on that. Hunter. Are we ready?
Let's just circle this time, shall we?
What if somebody circled before?
Why did there's a box there?
Okay, here we go again.
It's okay. It's okay.
Here we go again, I got Vivian's.
She said she's not.
Well, I love doing this, you know that? I hate it when I'm crashing. Jay,
No, click on the-
yep, Jay. Right. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't picture myself, I'm so sorry. Amy. Jay. Amy. Amy. Jay.
Not again.
Jay. Okay, 4 for Jay and 3 for Amy.
Somebody changed their mind.
Okay,
Yep.
all right.
Well, Amy can do the next one.
But I think Amy needs to reapply.
I think
Oh,
she does.
definitely.
Yeah, because she bring them.
I think she does. I think she
Yeah,
does.
definitely.
We need her.
Yeah, her ex-
And I thank your input. I thank all of you for your input.
Yes, this is her second time.
This is her second time she's applied.
This is?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, that happens and that happens.
I think Debbie applied twice or before she got on.
I did, yep. Miss Debbie got on in my place. She was.
And I guess one of the other things that I want to say in a very nice way, we would have no qualms about the board members being placed on the board without having come through the board. That's what we're concerned about, and that's what I said at the last police jury meeting. There were so many inconsistencies, and I've been here long enough to know the history, Vivian, and you know the history too. So that's why we stood in terms of making it, trying to be as fair and transparent as possible.
What you think of Patty? This is right now.
Thank you so
I'm
very
sorry, but I
much.
have to go to bell practice, sorry.
So you want me to pass it down?
Okay, thank you so much. And thank you.
Thank y'all. Thank you.
Would you take a revised,
See you.
Debbie?
Debbie.
Would you take a revised form here?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Discard the one in your
Okay,
packet.
I will. Thanks. I'm sorry, y'all.
Pass that down.
Get Dave to come back in here.
And would you accept this one, please? And discard the
Saying
one.
I
forgot it.
Sorry.
Yes, I definitely.
That's enough over here.
Okay, got it.
Have you got it?
Oh,
figured out?
David.
Thank you. So she could do something. Caleb, do you have a packet?
I got the email, but no, I don't have one with me.
Here, do you want one?
Sure.
I'm sorry, I didn't do that.
All right.
I apologize.
All right.
Toss out the pass the budget and then these are the correct ones.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so it's with that we are recommending, the board recommends Jay Lavone.
Which side, which one was that? Or the other one?
This is the old one.
That blue?
I don't have a clue. And if I get down there, I won't get up. Mrs. McCain,
Don't you do
point of
it,
order.
don't you do it.
I've already done it.
There's one on the line still.
Thank you,
You're a good
Chris.
man, and I like your stick.
Here's the other one.
Yeah, this is the minutes, and this is the.
Y'all keep me around for something.
Now, if you can find these papers, you find us some money. Do the same thing with that.
Wow. Okay, we're back in business, and thank you, very good. No public comment, right? Nope. Meetings, the minutes, please. You had time to read them? Have you all read them? Or you just,
I move that be accepted.
Second.
been moved properly second to accept the minutes for the last meeting? All in favor, aye. Opposers, nay. Minutes approved. Okay, thank you so much. Unfinished business, we're gonna jump up and go over the web page update.
Who seconded that?
And then the strategic. Ms. Hunter, second, right?
All right, so as you guys know, we've been working with this company out of Lake Charles, S&G Designs, to do our website. So this is a video demo of what we have to show you guys so far. So we expressed to them that we liked our website currently and we wanted to modernize it and get more user-friendly. But we didn't want to just completely jolt our patrons or make them not feel like they couldn't find the things that they were used to seeing. So this is what you see whenever you log into the page right now. Some things could change. We could add some tabs. We're looking at maybe taking some information off of the top bar and moving it around some, but for the most part, this is what you're going to see. We've done away with the Hamburglar because, as everybody knows, that's like the #1 thing that I would get on any kind of critique that we didn't like, so we won't be seeing any more Hamburglar. They have color-coded the top bar, so you can sort of see it as you roll over it. It will drop down on its own. This panel here is going to be rotating out, so we'll be able to highlight some of our events that we want over the main photo. At the top right now, what you're seeing is sort of a large, actually it's not a large, it's a bit small, it's an orange bar. That bar will be a ticker bar. It doesn't quite look like a ticker bar now. We'll have them enlarge that, but if there's any emergencies or we have to close, or if a tornado hits our building again or something like that, we'll be able to put a ticker at the top of our page. So it will be a little bit different than what you see as like an event or something like that down here. We've kind of decided to move our social media stuff around a little bit, so that will change, but these tabs are gonna come down and allow you to access different things up there. It's really organized. The event center is set up right now as a page on our website, just as it is right now. We scheduled some photography and some drone photos today. We're exploring some options about having our event center mapped out to make it easier. I think we've spoken about that at some other board meetings. So we're still exploring that, and we're excited to see them and meet them in person and things of that nature. So you'll still be accessing the event center here. They have added sort of an about us, and this is kind of just follows along more like a modern look of a website. One thing that I really enjoy about this new design and new layout is that the one thing that I heard everybody saying was that our top priority was the patron experience, the user experience, the UX, and then also, we wanted to make it easier for them to find, easy to find things. So as you're scrolling down on this page, the navigation bar is going to follow you, so you don't have to scroll back up or hit backspace or anything like that, and that'll happen on all the pages throughout. So I think that that's going to be a real useful tool for us. So as you can see, as the page rolls down, that top bar is staying there. This is another feature that we also were really excited about. We're trying to use some color blocking and organizing things in ways that are easy to pick out on the home page, or still on the home page. So you'll be able to access library events just like you can at that top navigation, our digital library, information on our meeting rooms, children's page. We're currently coming up with some more ideas for some page options with that. And then a big contact us at the bottom. Jeremy, we have a chat feature that works on our website currently. We are looking at moving over into a new service that's just more user-friendly. It allows our patrons to text or email from their phone. They can chat directly with our staff. Jeremy's kind of been scheduling that and heading that up. It took us through the whole pandemic being able to talk to our patrons without them having to phone us, or if we're not actually in the building, to answer. It's just a real useful tool. That will be added on that page. This is something kind of new that we've done. As you'll notice in new websites that you're going going to, they're always gonna ask you for your email address, and they're gonna give you a coupon code for giving it to them. We don't have any coupon codes that we can give them at the library, but we're gonna give them our newsletter. So any new person that logs into the website, they don't have to actually go to the panel to click, we wanna sign up for the website. They're gonna be prompted immediately to sign up for that website. And then just like your computer at home or your cell phone, that information's cached, and we're not gonna be annoying people and constantly asking them to sign up for our newsletter. Once they say yes, then sign up, or no, they're not gonna be bothered by that really anymore. We're obviously hoping that they do. As you go down some more, you see this quick link section here. This is the sort of same thing that we have on our website right now. We've been pulling some elements off of our old website, putting them onto the new website, so to not just completely blindside our patrons. They know right now that they can look at the very bottom of any page that they go to, and they're gonna find these links down there. And it's also a really useful tool that Jeremy uses with the reference staff. When they have people call on the phone, we can just tell them, instead of jumping through a bunch of hoops to find places, they can go all the way down to the bottom. At the bottom, we also have a site map that will be also a little bit more developed, a little bit more involved. But basically right now, this is what we're looking at as far as our new website.
When we first discussed this, we were gonna have the website done in August, and then it went to September, and then it went to October, and now it is November, and our tax is in December. And so,
What do we
what
expect?
is there new on here that we did not see already in our last board meeting? And are we saying the hurricane blew away the place that was doing this? Is that why we're late? But
So
we were
this is
trying
the
to get
first
this
time that,
available for the tax so that
selection,
our people
correct.
can see it.
So this is the first time, to the best of my knowledge, that I've presented this. I have yet to present this to the board. So this is the first presentation that they have given me to give to you
Well,
guys.
we saw a presentation.
We
as
saw,
well.
we saw
Okay.
just the beginnings of that. We didn't see the box on the left.
Okay.
We didn't see the drop down at all.
Okay. So I wasn't
So it took
actually.
6 weeks to get a drop-down box. Is that basically what it was?
I don't know what they have going on their back end. Obviously, they have all of our policies that they have cataloged back. They put our photos, I would imagine, that we've given them on there. They've only had this for about a month, and their contract does, I believe, say at the
They've had it for
end
longer
of the
than
month,
that.
a month, I guess a month and a half, maybe, a month and a half to be
I'm
exact.
just a little confused because the last time we had a meeting, we were told that October the 15th was the date in which we would be able to see a website, and it was ultra important that we
Yeah.
had this for our patrons out there, and I'm looking at it now, the only thing we see new, we saw
Right.
the picture last time that Jeremy put up for us over in the other building, and now we have drop-down boxes, and so my concern is, are we now moving this to January? Will this be 2021, or when will we
Yeah.
actually, are we paying them, or
I
what?
can see your concern. However, you know, this is a demo. You're not seeing really the complete website. I have not felt that, I have yet to feel that I don't have confidence in what they've committed to. I don't have the original timeline in front of me.
Okay,
But
let me
I
stop you
do-
there just one second.
Uh-huh.
Augusta, when we saw this presentation in, it was either October or it was, no, it was in September.
September.
It was in September, and we were told October
October
the
15th.
15th was our date.
October 19th.
October 19th. Okay, so what has happened between October 19th and now this date that causes us to see basically the same thing? I just want to get the thing working.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like it's coming along, my personal opinion.
We do have a meeting set up with them, and I can relay that information to them. Again, like I said, I had not had a concern, because I saw them still putting stuff together, and unfortunately, I didn't see the first presentation, my car flooded, so I didn't really have much to compare it to, so I
I
wasn't,
think you were in that room because Augusta, did we not ask for her to be in there when Jeremy came in? Because we
so
were
this is
discussing
the first
website?
time that I've given this presentation. I showed you our old website that had a photograph, a graphic on the front of it that said new website coming soon. So it's concerning me that you're confusing
Well, I'm not
the new
confusing.
design.
Jeremy provided for us a preview of the
That was
website.
actually our old website.
I don't think I'm
No, it was
confused.
the
today.
New one, I thought.
It was the new,
But
but
it
it was
wasn't having
only
to have all
a
that.
static page. It didn't have anything else to it at that point. I think there's been a great deal done
I'm sorry.
behind the scenes.
But I'm sorry.
It's just not up there for us to see it right now.
Can you-
He only opened a little piece for us to see.
But my
It's
still
not
concern
something.
is the fact that we were told in September that October the 19th, we would have a website up and running, and we still don't see a website. We see pictures of something that we saw back in September, and here it is November. And then my question is, are we paying these people money to give us something that doesn't appear to be changing? I want the website. If we've been working on this since we had our first strategic meeting in February last year, I brought it to the board in January. We had a strategic planning group of which I was a part. I've met one time and never again. And here it is now, the end of the year. We still do not have a website. And I just would like to know, when will we get the website? What are we paying for? And does this bother any other board member, or am I out of whack?
No, I think all of us have expressed the fact that we obviously are behind. We're behind, and one of the things that I did not see too, because I remember the last time when I questioned the old one, I was looking for where are the minutes. Remember, we said it could not be placed upon there because there was something wrong with them not being able to make that transition. Remember, I said the minutes from the board meetings were like 2 years out of whack, and I was concerned about
This
that.
is not their, okay, so I would like to pause for a second. We have Jeremy here, and I don't mean to say that you're wrong, but I would be remiss if I didn't explain that there's just no possible way that I could have presented this to you
I didn't
at
say
that
you presented it.
meeting.
Jeremy presented it.
Yes, sir, but
and
can
we
I
were
have
told
just
the
a
19th
second?
by your notes.
Can I just have 1 second, please, sir? They had just sent this to me by video today, and Jeremy brought up, what he did was, he connected our homepage, our static homepage, and showed that we uploaded a graphic on there to let the patrons know that we were in the process of working on the new site. But I simply could not have presented this.
I didn't say you presented it. Jeremy presented it, and Mary Jo Cooper wrote down October the 19th. I
Yes.
think, as our director had said, we were to have the website up and running.
Right, and that is correct, but
Okay, then
I
that
don't
is
think that
correct.
Jeremy was able to present this
So
either.
what is the reason for the delay? Now we're moving into November. We will not have this up and running by the time we have our tax election, so I'm a little disappointed with that.
I don't necessarily believe that that's true.
And what's
What
true?
other question here?
That's what's true.
I do not have a date that they have told me, but I do not think that it's going to be another month to have it up and running. They will be here next Monday themselves. Yeah, I am kind of.
When you ask him the dates and things that I asked you to ask him this afternoon,
Yes.
and you wrote it down, ask him more specifically.
Okay.
When exactly we're gonna have something that we can tweak around this table, and
That we will have access to.
that we
right?
will have access to, yes.
See, I'm concerned that we keep sending them checks. And
We
I'm
have sent them
concerned that
one,
what we're
we have
seeing
sent
up
them
here
half
is
the page.
Very
which is
little
what was
difference.
required.
We had to send them half the payment in order for them to begin, and we only cut checks, I believe, twice a month, so
No,
they,
we do it every week.
oh, every week now, okay.
So
So,
they're coming
they,
Monday.
yeah, they were not gonna begin on it until they.
And I would be willing to say honestly that this will not be up and running by the time we have our election. And furthermore, there would be a lot of education for our patrons for them to use it, for it to be any help in our tax election. So we've pretty well missed the boat in trying to get a website since we had our first strategic meeting in February. We still don't have one up and running, and I'm just disappointed in the speed with which the company is providing. And also at the top of that thing, you had a telephone number, and it started at 1 a.m., and I don't think our library opens at 1 a.m. So if this is a little snapshot of it, the very first slide you had said the telephone number for the library, it said 1 a.m. Monday through Saturday, up at the top. Monday through Saturday, 1 a.m. to 5 p.m. And
Yeah.
Sunday from 9 a.m. to whatever. So I
We
hate
were
to be
supposed
critical,
to
but the
get
first
it.
line, I see some kind of errors, and nobody is gonna open a library at 1 a.m. So
Yeah.
we need to proof that thing really
We have
thoroughly.
not had, the agreement was that we would get it the week before it went live, and we would be able to, beta test it and look over the pages. That line's actually not gonna be there.
Oh, no.
We're moving that line off of there altogether. Yeah, so.
May I say something?
If they bring it Monday,
Sure.
we'll have it.
May I?
If they're bringing it Monday to Kansas.
I'm gonna let Sandra answer the question. I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question either.
I'm sorry.
I didn't hear the question that Ms. Humphries asked.
I was wondering, she said they were coming Monday, I was wondering if that's when they're gonna test it, Monday.
Is the answer is?
We don't know for sure if we're gonna have it ready for them to hand it off to us or not.
These
I can
questions will
tell
be
you that
answered Monday.
I can tell you that the couple that's doing this site lost their home in Laura.
We've had COVID, we've had hurricanes, and I see a lot of code up there that's in the background.
There's a ton of stuff in the background
that
that's
we,
been done.
that gets them to that point. I'm certainly not able to judge if we're getting our money's worth, but I think we've got a lot there that we don't, we're seeing the superficial stuff, but there's a lot behind there that gets it done. So your questions will be answered on Monday, right?
We
With our
have the
information?
answers to those questions tomorrow.
Yes.
She's texting him first thing in the morning.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, we have a list of tweaks and changes that we went over that we wanted to see made.
Obviously, the question is when.
Okay.
If you stress, you want to know when.
Well, I can just say in all fairness that the feeling of the other members have expressed to me on the board, we're not so pleased with that company. I don't know who they are in terms of being able to give us what it is that we thought that we were going to get at that time limit. So my question is then, after they have done this for us, are we going to keep them, or are we going to?
We are for at least a year
Be
because we
looking
signed a
at the
contract.
timeline.
Okay, we signed for a year.
I can't really say that. I would have to have the contract in front of my face and
Because I don't want us to get burnt again like we did, I think, on the last one. Did we not get burnt from the last part where folks were trying to do the webpage for us?
I just, if it's my professional opinion, my professional opinion would be, in a month and a half, that they put us in front of all of their other customers. And they've been through 2 natural disasters, that this is fairly impressive.
Okay.
If you look at other sites that are in the community,
It normally takes.
I would like to know what you like. If you're not impressed with this, what would you like to see?
I have a question. Is the catalog integrated with that website, or is it hosted outside of what they're doing?
The catalog is a service that we use.
But it'll have to be integrated in.
And just for what it's worth, if you want a relative comparison, I built hightax.com, and it took about $5,000 in the better part of 6 months to do it.
So 6 months.
So this is, they are pushing us to the top of
Okay.
their list. I don't want to downplay the importance of this project. It is very important to me, and very important to everyone that I have spoken to. So that is certainly not at all what I am trying to do here. But I was happy with the direction they were moving.
And that may not be an apples to apples comparison, but it may give you some sense of scope, I guess.
I'm not impressed with it, and you can tell them that. I just feel that
You're not impressed with their timing,
I'm
with
not,
their work, or the
I'm
whole
not
thing?
impressed with the timeline because we were told in February we would have a website up and running, and we have not. We were told in September that we would have an website up and running by the 19th of October. By Mary Jo's date, we heard nothing. You've said it's gonna come and we're gonna critique. Are we gonna critique as a board? You're meeting with them Monday. We don't have a board meeting Monday, so how are we gonna critique or look at anything? And the last thing is, I believe that I have seen companies put together things quicker than this. At Louisiana Tech, we could certainly do drop-down boxes and put categories for them. I don't know that anything is open there. I don't know that anything is loaded. I do want this to be our window to the public. So therefore, we need to have our minutes, we need to have our agendas, we need to have things that we have wanted put up there. And for some reason, in 2019, all the agendas stopped. All of the minutes stopped, and poor Mary Jo's name and address is on top of mine. It has been that way since 2019, which is an embarrassment personally to me on the board, because we can't even get telephone numbers and names. We don't even have a picture, I don't think.
That's right.
And we've been living with that since 2019, and we're fixing to go into 2021, and we're happy with the speed with which this one is coming. I'm just not impressed at all, and I think that they could do a better job, and if they've taken on more and more and more, why don't they finish what we're paying them for, and then they can take on more. But to use that as an excuse, I think that's bad. We need our money's worth out of this, and I've given up hope we will not have this up and running by the 5th of December. I just believe that in my heart of hearts. That's been a
Do
failure.
you track activity on the site?
Not our current site. 'Cause
On the
it's-
current site, we don't know the number of hits?
Oh, yes, now that I do.
Okay. Is it used much?
Oh, yeah, it's on your statistics.
Oh, it is?
Mhm.
Okay.
You're talking about the old site.
Yeah,
And does it have things on it about our tax, our ad valorem?
No.
So if it doesn't have anything on it, it's not, we can't add anything to it, we can't subtract anything from it. So it is useless to us as far as an avenue to help support what we would like to do. That's why I said in January when I brought this up, we need a decent website that would be modernized that we could actually put things on. And that's why this group of people to which I attended one meeting, we met in February, and after that we've been just, we get a little tidbit every time and dates in the future, and I'm gonna shut up after this, but I am not impressed with what I see. I am not impressed with the timeline, and I wanted more. End of
Sandra
story.
Dupree had a comment. I cut you off, so I'm coming back to you.
Well, honestly, I'm not impressed with it much either, to be honest. And I really wish we would have gotten someone from Lincoln Parish to do their website. I know we have people here, and like Charles was saying, people at Tech. You know, that could have been something for them to do. I just feel like it is Lincoln Parish, and it should have been kept in Lincoln Parish if it was all possible.
So do you think the distance in terms of not being right here may have affected some way? I know we don't know anything about the
hurricane
storms.
and everything else that was
Okay.
going on, you know. But I thought we were told, even though we had the hurricane and things, that wouldn't affect them. I thought Jeremy or someone said that at our last meeting.
I heard the same thing, and Mary Jo wrote it down. Thank you, Mary Jo.
Yeah, I just wrote it down.
So, that's my only, thing with it. I think we could have used our own people in the
Us
parish.
having one date and then us being
Right.
very optimistic and I don't remember what those dates are. And I don't want to be called on to speak to a date that I cannot name from memory.
Well, you did not say anything about the date or anything. This was
Okay.
told to us at our meeting. But you did not have anything to do with that.
So maybe the
we're not
person that
blaming
told
you
us
for that.
Told you.
Okay, they have not been working on this since February.
No, we did not engage them until August.
Okay,
Right.
so,
But we did have our
We got a
first
late
meeting
start
in
with that,
February.
Vivian, I thought.
We had meetings before. We built what we wanted on paper. Jeremy, Casey, and I did. And we looked for companies, and we tried to find. And we also looked at a company here in Lincoln Parish, and we looked at Tech, and Tech didn't want any part of it.
It seems like the question is when.
So,
That's what everybody.
I guess what it all boils down to is
Is that what we're wanting to know?
Yeah, I just want to know when we
find that date out
can
from
expect to
them.
have an up and working website that
Well, it
has.
seems
we'll have that
like
date for
we're
you.
hashing a lot of other issues. The one issue that we're dealing with is, when's it gonna be up? Is it gonna be up before the election? Is it even possible?
That's the
to do
main
that?
issue.
So, you got some questions, just ask the questions.
Right, I will get that
It appears that it was
information
not.
for you.
And how will we be alerted to what they say as board members? Can you tell the
It's-
director and
it's-
will tell us?
Okay,
Would that be simple enough for you?
are the expectations that
I will call.
We need to know.
I will personally be here tomorrow morning early. I will call Seth tomorrow. I will email y'all immediately.
Thank
That's
you.
the
And
best
should
I can
answer
do.
That should answer the when. If you phrase the question appropriately, what is the date of expectation to
Right,
have
wait a
this
minute, I
go
want to write
live?
that
When
down.
does it go live?
Yeah,
That's what I would have
Yeah,
asked. When is
That's
it
when
go
does it
live?
go live? Yeah. However, all the other stuff comes together, the real question is, when will it go live?
and Mary Jo's gonna write that date down so we'll remember it.
Down my favorite notebook.
I'll take care of it, Casey.
And please understand, I'm not fussing at you. I'm frustrated with that company and the fact that we've been told that we have not, we hasn't come.
Is there some provision in the agreement for termination or
There
cancellation?
is.
Yeah, that's something to consider too, I guess. There'd be some financial implications, I'm sure, but we can talk about that.
I just
Well, I
think
think
this
it
was
is
of
a-
great importance.
I think it is because this has been paramount. We've asked for this and we know that tax will come, that vote for the tax we know is coming in December. That's why it was so important that we did that push. And I can understand what you're saying, Casey. I can understand what you're saying, but the fact is that we will not have it as we would think that we would have it at the point that we said we wanted it for, which was before the December 5th. And that's how people can get a chance to make a decision on helping to support the vote for yay on the tax. That was the main thing.
Yes, I could be optimistic, but I will stand by my position that I do believe that it will be active and it will be,
I was optimistic in September, but I have
right
lost
up.
that now.
that we're proud of before the tax election.
Well, all of us will.
Thank you, Casey.
Thank you.
All of us will be optimistic. We thank you very much. And we thank you. Any other comments for the web page? Because we do need to move on. Okay, and hearing none, Vivian's gonna get back with us in terms of letting us know. Thank you, Vivian. Thank you, Casey.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, Casey. Thanks to the whole unit. All right, what's next for the strategic plan update?
I have nothing new past what I gave you last time.
Okay,
Why
and I
not?
would like to pursue that too. because
Why not?
We have had some comments from police jury members that we have not justified the $314,000 a year. We have met with the director on several occasions and we have asked for a strategic plan that would show what we are going to do with the $314,000. and we have not received that. And I'm a little concerned that we are not providing for the citizens the amount of things that we will provide to this library with that tax. It is a very wonderful tax, and if it passes, it will be great, but I'm concerned as a board member and a taxpayer that what we're going to pass, we don't have a plan for what we're going to increase. And as I say, we have spoken to the director not once but twice about it, and we still have nothing in writing.
I did provide you something in writing.
It was 5 years,
Yes,
and you respectfully declined the other 5.
exactly.
And I don't
But
think
then
that's-
I gave you
do
another
not
one
think
after
that's your
that.
place to do. You are our director, you work for this board, and we have asked for that more than once, and you have decided not to do that. That's my opinion. I don't know what other board members do, but we hire the director. We ask the director, we have told the director, and the director has no strategic plan for the next 10 years.
That is concerning for all of us, Vivian, to be honest with you. And I would like to bring out one other thing too. At the last meeting that I had, and the representative from the parish at the Northwest Library Association Zoom, what was that meeting, Jeremy? What was that Zoom that we did a couple of weeks ago? Trailblazers. At the Trailblazers meeting that I represented the board on, there was a discussion about very much what David is talking about. That is, if you don't have a plan and you don't have the dollars associated with those plans, you're gonna run the risk of losing them, like it's getting ready to be done in New Orleans. There was much discussion on that, because now they're gonna come back and take back some of the monies that they had for that library, the libraries down there. Because somebody said, you don't have a plan where it's gonna fit in, we need this, we need that. We don't want them coming back, taking back money. So that's why it's important, Vivian, for us to make sure that we have, before they even ask, an idea of where it is that we're going. Facilities, yes, but other kinds of things too. Major kinds of things, capital outlay, it has to be there. And if we sound like we're preaching, maybe we are preaching, but because it is very, very important that that happens. Can we probably come back to you and say, and when will it look like we're going to have a little more than we did before the last time?
And for members of our group, our chair, our president, and I met with the director a second time after she respectfully declined to put the strategic plan together that we had asked for. And I targeted certain things like repairs and specific things that really wouldn't require an explanation, but would be a list of items. For instance, the police jury has just given a 2 or 2.5% raise to its employees. There's no figure in for that. Repairs, air conditioning, generators, just a variety of things that are required for this particular establishment. We had a meeting, it lasted an hour. I thought we left with a pretty good understanding, but obviously our director has not put a pencil or an adding machine to it. And so I'm very, very disappointed with the fact that we're entering into a tax election and we're going to ask the public for money, and we don't have a plan on how we're going to spend that money, except for the 5 years that our director seems to think that she's going to be here, and then after that, it's whose game? Well, that tax is going to go on past the director's retirement. And I think we are remiss if we don't have a strategic plan to go to these people and tell them, this is why we want this renewal. It's not there. Our director will not provide it. And you should all be concerned about that.
Do you have specific people, not asking names, asking for that? Are there people out there saying, what's the plan?
Police jury itself.
And are they demanding 5 year, 10 year?
They just said there's no plan. In fact, one in particular spoke with Vivian the night that she was there, and she did not respond, and so I thought maybe that would have been enough to jar her into doing this, but she came back and put a few things together that don't add up to the right amount, and so we still have zero strategic plan for 10 years. We have a very poor one for 5. And I am concerned as a board member that we're asking the public to provide us money, and we as a managing board do not have a piece of paper that shows 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, down to 10 on what we're going to do with the net profit of $314,000 a year. And our director will not provide that for us. That's my concern. And it's a serious one.
That would be a serious concern to me too, if that were totally the truth, Dr. Gillette.
That is absolutely true, because I have documents where you wrote what the difference was, and it's $314,000 a year, and we have no plan for that for 10 years.
That's true, you do not.
Then that's what
I
I'm
did not.
fussing about.
Okay.
How could this be corrected, Vivian?
A little bit of time would have been nice. This was thrown at me 1 week before the board meeting the last time.
It
When
was
you
thrown at
first
you
asked-
by
The
a
first
board
time I
member.
was asked for it was 1 week before the board meeting.
This was thrown to you by a board member when you were at the board meeting the month before. You just didn't do anything about it. And so we began to tighten the screw and say, we need to know something.
And I
And
did give
believe
you something that first night.
Your response was, it's in my head. Well,
Okay.
that doesn't convince voters.
We said it needed to be on paper. That was a comment that was made.
That's when we made the response, get it out of your head and put it on a piece of paper.
And I
obviously
did.
It's not up here because you can't put it on a piece of paper. That's my concern. The public holds this board responsible for the management of that $2 million plus budget. We have no plan.
My concern is I just don't want us to miss out on monies. I don't want monies to be taken back from us.
I don't want the tax to
I
pay.
don't.
That's
Well,
my concern.
it would have been nice to be able to have this in view of the vote that's coming up in December. That not only are we doing it for police jurors, but for John Q. Public. Because the public, I'm concerned, to be honest with you, with the upcoming tax vote on December 5th.
There's a reason for that, but not this. Personally, I don't deal with anybody whose vote will be changed because of or lack of a strategic plan.
Are you sure?
Huh?
You sure?
Well, the people I talk to are not going to deal with that, not going to look at it, not going to listen to it. I think there's other issues why the whole idea of anti-tax right now, people are tired from this whole political period we've been in. I think that's going to affect it far more than anything about the strategic plan and update.
So you
Charles,
we don't need one?
if we are hearing things that are going on now in our state, very much to this, that there is, as I said, that's happening in New Orleans, it's going to be the same all over in terms of saying you just can't say it's not because of, it is tied, and all of that is dovetailed in terms of what are the expectations of monies, and how could you account for saying this is what you're going to do with our money? I'm sorry, I beg to differ with you on that.
Well, that's perfectly okay. I beg to differ with you.
Well, you, our treasurer, had something to say.
Well, now, I just had a question to ask, I guess, please don't take this the wrong way, I'm really not trying to pick a fight or anything.
Wait a minute, I can't hear you, please.
I just have a question to ask. When we were in the board meeting, I guess it was 2, maybe 3 meetings ago, and y'all were tossing around the idea of what the proposed millage should be. I believe, Dr. Gillette, that you kind of made the case for the 585 and spoke more to that than anybody else. So
I did.
my question is, I guess, if you felt compelled to suggest that and support that, I would think that someone as intelligent as you would have, you know, something tangible, you know, to make that case. So, I guess this issue is kind of aside apart from that, but what did you think we were going to spend it on?
I took the budget that we presently had and I adjusted it for an inflation rate that would be 1.5%. And then I moved that inflation rate through the process to get to the end. And that inflation rate of 1.5 lowered the tax from 599 and put it at a 585, which were some of the options that were given to us by Vivian to look at millages versus money coming in. So we look at things like air conditioning, we look at electronics, the buying of computers, raises for employees. If you look at all of those things over a period of 10 years at an inflation rate of 1.5%, you get pretty much that 2.7 million that's there, which accounts for about $314,000 more than what we were collecting. And then if you take that and you look at, well, an air conditioner costs $80,000, well, that 314 less 80,000 gives you 200 and something thousand. If we're going to buy more electronics in our library, if we're going to put new banks of computers, if we're going to replace carpet, whatever the cost is now would be 1.5% more in the years to come. And so that's how I arrived at the 585. And the $314,000 was basically given to the director with a plan for us to actually look at things that we could do that would use that, because she received a comment from a board member, a jury member, when she was there that said, what are you going to do with that? Do you need that much more money? Quote, I think not. And so that keyed into me the importance of, okay, let's put those air conditioners down. Let's put the cost of the carpet down. Let's put the computers down. Let's put a new roof down. Let's look at these things, and we cannot get the director to put those things on paper to show an air conditioner may not work for 10 years. And if it's so old now, it may need to have some facility maintenance or deferred maintenance that would come in the years to come. So we don't redo all the light bulbs and the computers on one year, but we have a plan. So we're going to do so much money this year, so much this year. And then we have raises for our employees. That's about 80% of our budget. So that's a big chunk too. But we can't get that information on a piece of paper.
Well,
And so that was my concern.
And I guess that helps understand it a little bit, but, you know, I think at that meeting too, I suggested schedule for replacement of, you know, your infrastructure and all, and just one other thing, I want to say, and I'll shut up, I understand where you're going with the interest, you know, 1.5% a year.
I think in summary with everything, it would be nice if the director worked as hard to get the strategic plan going as I spent looking at the budget and seeing how much tax we probably needed to have and make sure that it went down, but I don't see the cooperation from our director to help me figure out that $314,000 needs to be put in the right place. And I would appreciate it if some of the other board members would chime in. Am I off base with this, or do you agree with what I'm talking about? I know Charles doesn't think it's important, but how about some of the other talking groups, some other board members? How do you all feel about it?
Well, David, from what I'm hearing you say is that there's been an absolute refusal and there's not going to be a strategic plan.
That's how I see it.
That's how you see it. Then, that being said, then I think Vivian needs to bring us up to date on it. So, I mean, we can hash it all out, but what's the plan for the plan? Vivian, do we have a plan, or is there?
Yeah, there was a plan, but right now.
Right now, I understand, and that's a part of it. That's as much a part of as hurricanes and all those other things are. So, I'm not asking for history, I'm just saying, what does your plan, in light of all that's going on, look like for the strategic plan? I mean, is this, I don't know how much time.
Well, can I say two other things real quick? I promise I'll shut up. Number one, we're still assessing this upcoming year based on the old millage, right? So I know you gotta convince people to pull yes for 585, I get that. But in terms of money in the door, that's not gonna be effective until a year from now, okay? When you calculate it in the compounding of the interest, I think there may be one factor that didn't make it onto the equation, which is the inflation is figured into your assessment based on increase in the assessed value. You don't have to factor in the inflation because the economy is inflating, the value of the assessed property is inflating as well. And so we may have ended up a little too high, 585. I'm not saying it did, that's a possibility, I guess. And the only thing I'm saying is the 585 is going to be what, if they vote yes for it, they're voting yes for a maximum of up to 585. You don't have to collect that whole amount every year. And so I think that's an out for you too, is look, okay, maybe we don't need 585 for 10 consecutive years, but we're staring down the barrel of $600,000 deficit next year. And who knows what's going to look like after that. And in the past, we've been prudent and reduced it, from what was previously the authorized maximum, and I don't know if that helps or not, but, I get what you're saying, it's a hard sell.
Mr. Hyde, you're right.
Absolutely.
You're right,
Yeah.
you're
And
right.
I understand
I
that.
understand it,
To
because
get
you're
to
right.
2.7, we may have to, with the valuation goes up, with the tax goes, the millage goes down. I understand all that, but we have to have a starting point somewhere. And that was pretty much the number that was thrown out there to look at. We don't need any more than that. And I think that's what got us in trouble 10 years ago. We had a 599 and it was too much for what we wanted to do. And so that's the reason we built the bank account. And that's the reason we've been coming down and running a deficit spending all this time, is to get that. We don't want that to happen. So that 585 was presented by me to the board. They voted on it. The director was there when that happened, and it certainly would bring us an increase. We didn't want to sit in the water dead, but I cannot get a plan from the director on what we're going to do for that, which is embarrassing to me as a board member. Am I off base? Diana, how do you feel about this? Or
When we had talked about the plan, we talked about doing a 5-year plan because Vivian had said that she wasn't sure she was going to be here 5 years.
I don't have a clue what you said.
I'm sorry.
When we talked about the 5-year plan,
Right.
Vivian didn't think she would be here in 5 years.
Yeah.
but that doesn't.
But
mean
what
that-
happened-
That's why we didn't do a 10-year plan. That's why we
Right.
weren't going to do a 10-year plan.
And as David and I said with Vivian, you may not be here. However, it would be prudent to do just what we're saying. You've been here for 15 years, you know how things have gone. You're here now, you see what they're like. You're still gonna be here a few more years. And even if another person comes along even after Vivian, they should have the benefit of knowing, okay, it looks like that we were, and like you said, Ms. Hyde,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, we have some deficits.
Right.
We're gonna have some, the parents is gonna have some deficits, some other kind of things based upon the millions of dollars. So we're gonna try to get in the, ahead of the line. And I think to be far enough ahead. And not be behind, because like I said, it's gonna be something else if we don't get what we're getting.
But
We ain't seen nothing yet.
another point that you communicate to voters is the assessed value of Parish wide has gone down. It just, even since the new assessment was done, it's gone down by about $3 million. And so when that happens, it don't matter, you can have a millage of 115 if the assessed value is half of what it once was. You're not going to be collecting anywhere near as much. And so
We just make adjustments.
Also, I believe, I may be wrong, but then you make the comment also, it would be much easier for the new director when they came in, that if this 10-year plan was done?
I
Rather
think-
than somebody just come in and is lost with everything, yes, you did.
Yeah, you may
I
have,
think
Thank that comment.
that was a
I think to say it's much easier to get very subjective way, very
That it was
subjective way to
probably
say.
easier for somebody just to walk in and not have nothing.
Okay, Caleb, pay the tape back.
and Chris, that was a good point.
What
That's a
I-
good point.
Yes.
what I think I remember saying is, if it were me, I would want to walk into a place with a plan that I could then modify, because I'm not smart enough to come up with my own plan.
You did, you said that.
So, yeah, if it were me, walking in here 5 years from now as a new director, I think it would be helpful.
You would like to have something.
But when you get in the position, Chris,
Right.
you would have to be able to do what we're asking. You'd have to be able to come up with, no matter how smart you are or not. You would be able to work the plan and say, oh, this is what it looks like it was before, and now this is what it's gonna be. I guess part of it is coming back from my behavior too, from,
And
and Vivian, I guess part of it is, I am a strategic planner for that. Because that's what they tell us, that you have to be able to understand. And I understand what you're saying, Charles, that maybe we don't, but I think we do.
But I don't think this library would have done as well as it has.
Would you speak up,
Because
please?
because of Vivian's had a plan. She's had a plan and she can pull these numbers out. She knows what needs to be done. So can we get a plan?
We can.
Okay.
A
That's
10-year
your
plan.
question, yeah.
I'll do you a 15-year plan.
If you want to do that, that's fine. All we're asking for is a 10.
I think 10 is sufficient. You don't need to go, now that's gonna be
Jeremy, you're good at that. You know everything that has to be done, how much it is. You pull these numbers together and you go, right. Can we get one?
And what time? I'll let you handle that.
Can we do it Monday when we
Is
get
your
the website?
question.
Can we get that and the website at the same time?
That's after the tax.
So you get a 10-year plan, no matter how long you're gonna be here, you plan for
No,
somebody else.
that's my
You want
point.
somebody to step in place.
Vivian, would you mull this over and then advise?
How about,
I don't expect anything on the spot, on the moment, but can you mull it over and say, hey, here's the plan for the plan?
I will let you know that tomorrow morning.
Maybe not tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning. Okay.
Okay. Then it's what time, David, you have to watch, what time are we on? 5:30 or 6?
For here,
Yeah, what time's it?
5:45.
We have lots of things ahead. I think there's some things on here we want to discuss, but I don't know that we want to discuss everything and go to 7 or 8 o'clock tonight.
Well,
That
my
would
my
require
part
an
of all of it
adjustment.
is, this is just a combination, it's a culmination of a number of things that I think our time would be well spent to work our way through here, because this is, it's important.
Let's get it done.
Now, if enough members decide to leave and we lose a quorum, well, that's fine, but I would entertain the idea that we work our way down here. And really, a part of our difficulty in getting through here is the website is not ready, the strategic plan is not ready. This is old business indicating we went through this last month and the month before that and the month before that, and nothing has been done. So all this conversation needs to evolve around when. You have asked a very good
And
question.
no offense, David, we've beaten that horse. I would suggest we move on,
I'm all
because
for
there's things
that.
that need to be done.
I'm
If
all
we're
for
going
that.
to
So,
complete all
just
this
to have
new
closure
business,
with it, Vivian will
we
let
need
us
to-
know in the morning
we
when
need
this
to
will
move on.
take place, and then we're gonna meet with the, techno people and whoever is, Vivian is gonna let us know when the website's gonna set up. So we've made marvelous progress through here, but it's been like pulling teeth to get it done. In the absence of our chair, may I move on?
Yes.
And we have the amended budget and proposed budget, and Vivian, I think you can take care of that.
Okay. You have, I sent around two new, the ones that are in your packet are not correct.
And I
They
think
do
we all
not
have
have the
it.
correct pieces. But I sent around the right ones for you.
So of action, we need to approve the
We need to, look at
Amended
the
2020.
amended, amended budget first, yes.
and then
And
did the
then
proposed budget for 21 change also from,
Yes, it did.
okay, would you,
The
Just-
changes are the ad valorem, the taxes on there. I did not have them correct, when I started this, so I was just gonna tell you they were not correct. But then I got them correct about 30 minutes before the meeting, so I ran meetings with them.
what's the dollar difference?
You would ask a question that I don't know the answer to.
Well, roughly,
The revenue that we're bringing in is about $260,000, about a little over $260,000
so that's,
for the proposed amended budget.
so that's less than proposed, the
Yes,
budget, yeah.
But if you'll also look, the ad valorem tax is a good bit less, and part of that is because of the construction budget being paid off and the way that we changed money from one side to the other. So that's why that's less money there. That's 4.15 mills for that.
This amended 2020 goes from 2.2 to 2.0.
Correct.
How does that affect operations? What's
It
the,
really doesn't. We have enough money that it really didn't make a difference. The expenditures are less as well. If you look at the salary, from 874,000 amended down to 712,000. So there are great differences in the expenditures as well. Instead of $6,000 budgeted for the drug testing and unemployment, we're only spending $400.
well, actually what you're saying
that there's
is,
less revenue and less expenditures.
so this is a normal part, we've done it every year before.
Exactly. There's very little difference except for the amount that we are spending.
Okay. So how do you want a motion on each one or discussion on both?
We usually have to do one, each one has to have its own motion.
Okay.
If y'all want to look
And
through
we
that,
have-
if y'all have any
Now,
questions.
we're gonna probably go with the Vivian, because part of it is, we know that the main changes have been made, that we can see this, and it's not all that scientific.
No.
Can I have a motion for the approval of the amended 2020 budget?
I move that the 2020 budget be as prepared.
And second?
Second.
Second by Charles. Okay, all in favor, aye? May I have all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, nay? All right, motion passed. For the proposed 2021 budget, may I have a motion for this acceptance?
This is the proposed one. The figures that you see at the bottom are very much the same as this year, except some raises in materials budget. The e-materials budget is different, is raised some. There's some programming money extra. There's materials, acquisition of equipment is more there. That includes almost $300,000 extra in this budget than the past budgets before. There's $314,000 difference between the tax and what we've brought in the past. So that's the figures do reflect that expenditures. There's acquisition of equipment, there's software, there's additional professional services. And their wages seem to be the same.
Will the heat go on in here, Jeremy? Is this it?
No, the temperature can be raised in here.
I suggest that we raise it. I typically am not cool, but I'm getting chilly in here, and I'm uncomfortable, and I think it needs to be raised.
Some of us, it's cold.
But I don't think any of us know how.
Oh.
I can go try and see if it'll work for me, but, yeah.
Because it's all computerized.
Okay,
Him is the
all
only one who's
right.
done it.
Well, we're gonna try to move on so Charles can get out here and get warmed up. May I have?
I think there are others.
I see somebody's no sleeves on. 2, 3, 4. Okay. All right.
I'm shaking, I'm so cold.
It's cool.
Really?
And I'm typically.
Having the doors closed
Huh?
makes it colder.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Jeremy. Again, I
have
ask.
the proposed budget of 2021 be accepted.
Second.
Second by Ms. Sanford. Second by who?
It was seconded by Ms. Humphries and Ms. Holmes.
Okay, either one. Moving properly second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposers, nay? All right. Then the 2021 proposed budget has been accepted. Okay, and next on new business, hiring freeze until after January 1. That's
Madam
put on
President,
there.
I'm the one that put that up, and it kind of goes in conjunction with the contingency plan if the tax fails.
Yes.
And we sent word that if it needed to be tweaked to make it sound differently, that would be okay, but we're not, we hope and we pray that our tax will pass. But if it does not pass, we will have to go back to the public at some later date, and we will be running on our fumes that we have in our savings account. And I think it would be prudent for us to be frugal with that, and therefore, if there are opportunities for us to not hire people between now and January, if we can proceed with services as we presently have, I believe that we need to hold that, and then what contingency plans would we have as if the tax fails? If it passes, we know everything will be okay as we plan.
So you're not indicating that you want the board involved in the hiring process?
No, I want the director to hire, but I need to know
Information, Charles.
information about who it is.
Okay, because-
I'm not meddling in her business of hiring and
I
hiring.
wanted that clarified.
I just want to know more information about it, especially when we're counting pennies and whatever with our.
It seems, David, that I've heard discussion at meetings about positions that are open, difficulty filling them, personnel issues, and I'm wondering, within an open board meeting like this, when all of a sudden we're discussing personnel, is that legal?
We can go into executive session
That's
if we
right.
need to. And that's totally legal with personnel.
That is legal.
Yes, it is.
We have turnover at a place that has X number of people that appears to me to be larger than normal. And yes, larger than normal. Because
What are you basing that
we
on,
don't look
David?
at it as a year's time. There are 18, 20 people that flow through here, and that's a big chunk of people that are hired and don't like it, or hired and quit, or hired and.
Spouses move, there's a lot of reasons.
Yes, and the reasons, I
And
think we as a.
that
board
will
need
help,
to
but
know.
now you just made a very good point, Charles. We know that there are some who will be leaving because my husband got another job and I'm going with him. Okay, that's to be expected. Or I'm moving because I've retired, I want to live with my children out of state. But I think that there is a concern right now, because I have been getting calls, I'm telling you now, and we're going to kind of like follow this up a little bit. I think it's very important, some others have expressed too of things that are happening, and we're going to talk about that later on. And you're right, for personnel kinds of things, we do need to be in. But I think noting that the board should have some input on this.
That being said then, and Vivian shares that information, is the board, can the board legally share that information with other people?
What do you mean, can't they share with other people?
Well, you say you're getting calls, are you going to say, yeah, we fired them because they were incapable? Is that legal to do that?
No, it really.
They're going to do it themselves, I don't have to.
I think the
You're
point
saying you're
here
getting
is-
calls,
Yes, I am getting calls.
but then you're going to respond to the calls? Is
No,
that
I'm
what
not
you're
in that
saying?
right now, I'm telling them to go back and talk with the director. Because the director
Can you
is
tell me the
the,
calls you're getting? What kind
I'm
of-
just, okay, may I say
kind?
this, basically? Some of them have been very recent, and I would just like to kind of like follow up on this in
Okay.
terms of after this meeting.
Sure.
Okay?
I think we've got to be awfully careful with that information being shared and then our sharing that information. I think that's a really, well, what's it?
Charles, we're not going to do
I think some of
anything.
that needs to be in executive session if that
You
comes
can't do
up,
that in
that
executive
You
private
can.
information.
If your
But
premise
this
is you
is my
need it because
question,
people are
Vivian.
calling you,
What's
then you're
the,
going to do something with that
excuse me.
information. That's my point.
She's talking.
For a head children's, library, or children's services, do they have to be library science major?
Yes,
Okay, do they have to have a master's?
yes.
Okay. That was my question.
I think what's Charles is coming from is, we want to preserve the privacy of the people.
Certainly.
Right.
But when we look at a list of people that have either been terminated or they have quit because they don't like it here or whatever, we are getting, I don't know if anybody bothers you all, but we are getting chatter out
Okay, so
there
Carlos.
about things going on here, and we just, you may not get it, but we
I don't get
do.
them.
And
Well, but
we
that's-
just want to be able to talk to people and say, okay, we're going to take that to Vivian, or I've heard this, I'm going to write this up, or this is not so, you need to call so-and-so and find out. And right now, we have no input. We get a sheet of paper after the fact that says this person
Okay, so,
left.
but you just said we have no input. You're wanting input.
Well, I want input to know what's going on, and that's all I want. I want to know what's going on, and right now, I feel like I don't.
Charles, we're not asking for the humma dumma dumma dumma. I think that's what you're probably thinking about. We're just asking for basic kinds of things. We're smart enough not to get in any trouble legally in terms of doing some things that you cannot do or say. And I'm looking at you, Chris, because of reasons, but
Because what?
Well, you're speaking for
Yes.
what I'm saying. I'm simply asking questions to understand the implication and what board knowledge implies. That's
Okay.
what I'm asking. So I'm asking questions
okay,
for understanding.
okay.
Do your bylaws specify who hires, fires?
The revised statutes of Louisiana
Yes.
that says who hires and fires.
And we're not getting in her way. I mean, she's gonna be the one that hires, she's gonna be the one that fires, or whatever. It doesn't always have to be that or that, but the point is, I think we as board members need to know more about what's going on, and do we have a trend of something, or is there something we could change here in our process of governance that would cause us not to have 18 people to be looking for another job in 1 year in a place that's this big, 18 people, that's kind of out of the mainstream. And so I'm wondering, could we help either Vivian, or could we help in looking at some policy, or could we help the overall running of the library if we knew more about the circumstances of terminations and hirings and whatever, that we could provide better guidance and service from here? That's all I'm looking at.
Charles
Right now, we don't know.
has indicated that he has not, have I gotten the sense that other board members have been approached or called or in conversations with?
I sure wish y'all would have told me.
Have you had any?
Would be nice, yeah.
It would be nice to have been
All
told.
right, everybody here. has-
Everybody's had calls except
Lucky
for,
you.
I have not.
except
Do
for
what?
Charles.
I said, lucky you haven't had a phone call or
Yeah.
email or
Everybody
conversation
else
about it,
has.
so
I've
it is
had
an
calls
issue.
on other issues, but not personnel.
Yeah, well, it is an issue for
It is an
everybody
issue.
here.
And some of it has been more recent. So that's why I'm saying, probably some of it has not been before, but as of, so that's why I'd like to put a pin in it right now,
Right.
to say that we're not going to do anything out of disrespect for, or anything out of the nature in terms of violating a person's rights,
Yeah,
okay? Because you got to be very careful about that too. And we don't want them to sue us, and we don't want to be sued, and we don't want to sue them,
Privacy.
okay?
Well, the other concern I have is that, again, Vivian is our director. She's mandated by state law, I believe, to handle this process of hiring. So that Maybe she wants input, maybe she doesn't, but I'm not wanting us to say that we're going to get involved in a very precise thing that she does, which is, which I still hear from you, David. It sounds like you're wanting us to have input before and after the fact?
No, I just want to know the circumstances around Madam X. Okay, here's Madam X that's been hired. This person is hired for the children's department and has these degrees or whatever. So we know this person was hired for that. Now, here's somebody that didn't make it. They're being terminated. It comes out on a sheet of paper that we have. We don't have to have a reason, but I feel that we get this information after the fact, and there's no input that we have, and we don't know who these people are. We started having somebody come in and talk to us occasionally, but that suddenly quit. So we don't really know who we hire. We don't know who we dismiss. We know nothing about the people that are here at this place. And so all I was asking for here is we have enhanced information from the director so that we would know, like a spreadsheet or whatever, that we could know who we're hiring. More importantly, and the more pleasant thing would be the hiring, but those 18 people that have gone elsewhere, some
What,
were
18
terminated
people?
and some had logical reasons for leaving, but I still say in a place that's this big, we shouldn't have 18 people.
What
in here.
18 people? I'm trying to figure out what 18 people is that?
Madam President?
Well, I think I'd like to just kind of say, if you don't mind, this is a point where we want to talk with Vivian about, and we'll just put a pin so that we don't cross lines. That's what I want to say.
Okay.
Okay, so we can move on. I feel that I'm not going to get any additional information that I had requested, but for purposes of time, at least we brought it up for you all to think about it, and maybe next time we can pursue that. So I'd be willing for us to move on to the next item.
Okay, for the next item, facility enhancement. That's one of the items that I placed on the agenda, coming up with the vote, and I've talked about this before. And I said that the other day I came in and I walked around with David, and we did both the inside and the outside. And again, still looking at things that will probably need to have some attention. I looked up again, upstairs up in there, it's still mildew, whatever that is, what I'm saying, when you're coming in the entrance. Mold,
And
whatever.
it comes back every month or so.
And we should have a plan whereby, on a regular basis, that is taken care of. That's all I'm saying. Going back and looking at some other areas in the library itself, I think I love the way that we look in terms of coming with a new carpeting that's added, but there are some other kinds of things that I think that we can still do. Looking back in the back rooms back there, I want to say that I'm just questioning about some old computers that are back there in terms of trying to get some of those out. Where should they be? They've been there for about 2 years now. Am I right?
You are right.
Okay.
And if you will talk to Tracy Calloway at Parish, they've been on his list, and every time I see him, I ask him when he's coming to get them.
Okay, well, we need to find out and send Tracy Calloway an email to let him know that he needs to get on the job to do what he needs to do to get rid of those. That's not a place for it to be. That's just one of them. So I'm saying, looking at the other kinds of things, I think we can do a better job. It's good. This is a beautiful library. But there's always room for improvement, always room for enhancements.
Sure.
And if we want to be able to say to the people, we need you, we need to be able to say to them, and this is how we're doing it.
That email would be a good document too.
So we're suggesting that Callaway is his name?
He has more than one email already.
Has he answered them?
Occasionally, he'll tell me I'm coming to get them, and then things happen, and he'll forget about it or what.
It's been happening, but for 2 years now.
Well, it's probably been happening for longer than that.
Okay,
truth be
well,
told.
then we need to do something stronger if that's what it is that's happening. Then I'll get with you on that one too, Vivian, because part of it is, who is Tracy's boss?
I don't know.
Callaway. Who, Mr. Chris?
GIS district. board member,
Which board member?
GIS district.
GIS district board members.
Oh, good, wonderful, excellent. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Now, I know we're gonna get something going now. Oh, yeah, we're gonna get it going now. Uh-huh.
Well, I know that his hands are tied every now and then too, because I know the time in May, when it was supposed to be done in May, COVID had everything backed up. He couldn't come do them if he'd wanted to.
Okay. All right, very good. So I can hear you.
They do serve like a dozen government entities.
Exactly.
In addition to the police jury and y'all, that it's basically him circulating through.
Okay, but for 2 years is what? I'm just asking. I know it's busy, it's virus, I know hurricanes, tornadoes. I'm not being dramatic now. I'm just trying to be very realistic and call it for what it is.
I wasn't saying.
Okay. All right, let's move right along. You know, this has been a real long meeting. All right, we talked about the contingency plan that I think that we've had in terms of knowing about that. Did we say that we're going to try and come up with one? To do a plan if the tax fails? I'm just asking.
Well, I guess that would be the hiring freeze.
That'll be part of it, one part, but in addition to that.
Yeah, you would do that. You would probably try to cut some hours and change that a little bit. You would definitely start peeling back on what you're buying. I wouldn't be buying books every time you turned around, and I would certainly limit the amount of books, if anything. Probably would not even buy books right away. That would be right away.
That would be very, very wise, Vivian, I think. And that would be in keeping with, and we can always, when the tax passes, which I'm hoping in, who said it the other day, who said they were being optimistic? Was it Tracy? Casey, rather. I'm being optimistic that we're going to pass a tax. But just in case, like you know what's out there now, people are anti. They don't want to spend their money on things that they can't do, buy food, have a place to live for their family. So I'm realistically. So Vivian, are we going to come up with something in terms of looking at spending and people's?
You want that in writing? You'll
Yes,
get that
I
in
think
writing.
we need it in writing, I think.
Okay.
We have a hand up over here.
I have a question. Talking about contingency plans, does anybody know the deadline for getting into the next? I know there's a local election in March.
Yes, there's a deadline. I mean, there's a timeline. We have to wait 6 months to go get on the next tax election. I think it's 6 months. But there's a definite timeline, yes.
Because I know there's some other local stuff coming up in March, but I guess it's too late for that one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Well, it look like we've just done tax ourselves out, huh? Okay.
The other item on there is evaluation process. I believe we've about covered everything that could be checkpoint off, but we had a process for evaluation of the director.
Yes, we are getting ready to evaluate from last year.
I don't see a copy of that though in the handout, so.
Ooh, that's my thing.
I didn't make copies.
I didn't
I
either.
saw it in the email, but I did not
I'm sorry, I
make
didn't
copies.
make it because
I didn't know that was something that needed to come before the board. I apologize.
what it is, maybe I'll let David explain.
Well, we do an annual evaluation, and so we have asked some different people to collect because Charles did all his addition and subtraction, and I did all my addition and subtraction and whatever, so we thought we'd spread the cheer. And so our president has asked Sandra if she would take care of the evaluation summaries of the board, of us here, and that she would give this information to Augusta, and then Augusta would have a conference with Vivian, and this time Augusta would invite Sandra to be there in case there would be any questions. And then on the staff part, we had Debbie Holloman and Mary Jo Cooper, and they would be looking at that. And then I would be over here in the boardroom to receive the brown sealed envelopes of the staff members, and we would have all staff, not just the supervisors, but all of our staff members. And I would be here on like a Friday and a Thursday from 4 to 5. And we checked and we found out that if I came at that time and sat in the room, we would have a list of all these people and they would initial their name and give me their sheet. And when I had them all, or whoever was there, then that sheet would be destroyed. But I would know that the number of people that were here were not stuffed. We wouldn't have anything illegal about that. I would take one envelope, they would sign their name or initial their name, that sheet goes away. And then those total amounts could be split by Mary Jo and Debbie, and they would summarize and again give to Augusta, who would set up an appointment with Vivian, and then Mary Jo, Debbie, Sandra could accompany Augusta as she talked with the director.
Is there a date?
Yeah, those
Dates are on
that
it.
sheet, and they're workable. They start by turning in stuff before Christmas, and then you remember last year how you all mailed to me. I would collect all of those when I had everybody's, and I would turn it over to Sandra, and so we would make sure we had all of the board turned in to Sandra, and then all of the staff would go to Mary Jo and Debbie, and that would happen right after the Christmas holidays, and would give then a week or 10 days for Debbie and Mary Jo and Sandra to look at the data, make a summary, give to Augusta, and it would all be done by the end of the month of January. I just wish, if I'd known it wasn't here, I would have printed it.
I'm sorry
on
too,
my
I
computer and brought it in,
just
but
didn't do it.
I didn't know that it was something that had to come, I'm sorry.
There's nothing in it really different than last year, except we're gonna use the same forms. We
Same.
just need the library to have the brown envelopes to put them in and the printing of the forms.
Yes, printing the forms,
And
piece
then
of
if
it.
it's gonna come to board members, they need to put in there a stamped return address to me, and I will collect everything and get them out to the different people. And after that, it runs just like it did last year. Same, but we're not changing anything on what we're looking at.
Questions, Charles?
No, it's been answered.
Okay. Done a good job then if it's been answered for us. Okay, thank you so much, and thank all of you for agreeing to do that too. It takes a lot of time, so I appreciate you giving up your time to do this. Evaluations are important, they help us out.
It takes a little time, that's why I decided that Charles and I needed a break. You
I'm
did
not
it-
doing it again.
You did it last year, and I did it last year, and so we
Yeah.
want to spread that.
Absolutely needs to be spread around.
And now, you can get a copy of this. I thought, did you send that out to all the people, or do we need Vivian to do that?
I will send you
Vivian.
tomorrow.
So you will see
Vivian.
the timelines. that are
Vivian
on
sent it out.
Took the calendar
What-
and-
I will send that document that you emailed to me out to you tomorrow morning, same time. And then I will print the forms and get them ready for your staff, for the
Very
staff.
good, excellent. Thank you so very much. Moving right along, Event Center. I placed this on the agenda, and I think part of it was from the last time we had a discussion. I want to say last month, was it not, Vivian?
I don't know.
No, it wasn't about the generator. It was about the use of the Event Center for another group. And we were asking that the persons who were using it would be responsible for paying for the extra person who would have to stay beyond the time to do the cleaning, the sanitizing, beyond library hours. Now, here's the
No.
catch.
Okay.
We were asked, why is it that because the Event Center belongs to the police jury like the library, why is it that they don't have a key and a code to the Event Center?
Same reason they don't have one to the library.
My comment to the person who asked me was that I was not in agreement with it, but I could not speak for the board, that I will bring it up to the board and let the board give a discussion for it, and then I will say to you why my response to that was a nay.
So the question is, who would have the key and the code?
Police jury,
Who is the police jury? I mean, what,
Doug Postel.
just he or more people?
Doug Postel.
I'm again at,
Why would he need a key? That's my question.
I can see both sides of this, but I think we have a really good in-place process to schedule events, and I would hate for there to be a mishap somewhere, and we have a police jury meeting, and we have some kind of ladies' bazaar cake sale or whatever here, and they bypassed our people out here. As you can tell, Charles, I'm hungry. But I think that if our process works,
it works.
and they call us, we would be happy to let them in. I don't think the problem is there. It's just that I think we could get the possibility of some double booking if we did it that way.
Sure
I
could.
don't know, that's just. off the
Very
top of my
easily.
head.
My question
I
is,
don't
why does he
believe
need a
that.
key?
I don't believe that Postel need a key. Get in.
No offense to him and his position, but I would say we keep it as it is, my opinion.
Mine too.
Mine too. I don't believe he needed, I don't think he needed.
I mean, I would see no reason for it.
No, because we only meet over here, because of the COVID-19.
Do you have a comment?
Well, I don't know anything about any of this, but.
Well, maybe you should.
I don't think if he wanted access to the building, it would be for the sake of not having to schedule meetings here. So I guess what's the motive for him wanting us to have access to the building? I mean, we own it.
You
and
do?
We have access to every other facility that we own.
You do own a building? I thought the building was owned by the people of the parish.
Well,
I'm not, I don't mean to get funky with you, Chris.
No,
But I'm saying, just like
I
the,
don't have any idea what's going on.
okay, all right, well, maybe perhaps then, after tonight, you can go back and y'all can have some more discussions since you were in that.
Like I said, I didn't know if any of you knew the motive for, his motive for wanting access. Like I said, I just couldn't.
Well, the comment was made that because we own the building, we should be able to have the key and the code.
No.
And as I said to you, Augusta Clark said right away, I am not in agreement. However, I will bring it before the board to have a discussion for it and see what the board members think of it. So that's why it is on the agenda for tonight.
Well, like I said, this is the first I've heard any of it.
And it's owned by the
I don't
public.
know.
I don't think you need a key.
I don't know what his motive is, but do you mind sharing with me your objection, I guess?
I want to be a good neighbor, and I want to do what I can for the police jury, because they are the governing body of all of us, But I feel that we have a process where whenever they want, they just pick up the phone, and the only reason they would not get a room would be if you have something going on.
It's already
In
booked.
which case, is the police jury want to boot them out? I mean, we don't handle that.
That's what I was getting at by saying I'm not sure what his motive is, but I don't think it's just to be able to come have meetings whenever he wants.
Is there, at the police jury office, a master set of keys for every facility? Is that what they're saying, and they just don't have this one?
There's not one for here.
We got keys to everything except here. But
I'm
yeah.
sorry, say it again.
Every,
Yes, sir, we have keys to all of our facilities.
and the code.
Except here.
And who is the keeper of the keys and the codes? And
Well, there's a box that all the keys are locked in. And the key to all the keys, is
that's,
Kept by whom?
Mr. Postel's office.
Oh.
this what?
So, it's in Mr. Postel's office, the closet in his office.
Maybe we could swap a key for the computer.
If that's all
I
that
don't know
is,
why he's asking, I'm just trying to see if I can figure out why, if anybody has an objection, what the,
I think he would like,
logic of the
just,
objection.
it would be easier for him to schedule meetings here, but I'm just afraid that we're gonna double book, and so we
We will.
don't have that.
I am a member of the police jury, and I definitely don't believe Pastel need a key to this building, because this building place that things on the books for days. And they don't need to overbook days, overlap.
That was my concern, that one day there would be a negative experience for the whole
And
booking.
we don't need to be in that business of they, overbook.
If there's an
That
overriding,
That Vivian stay in charge of this building. Because if a key get lost to this building, who can go in there?
there's an overriding need for it for fire safety, personnel safety that we're not aware of, that he's aware of, then I think it would be nice if we knew about it.
Well, and that's where I was going with the whole question, did anybody know why they want to? And I don't guess anybody can answer that, but I can guarantee you it's not so he can just show up and have a meeting at his pleasure. The only meetings we have here are scheduled every second Tuesday.
Well, I do know that there was one that he wanted to have a meeting, and the library was using this room, and they wanted to have a meeting for something. And we told them, no, they couldn't, because we were in this room, and this was the day of staff training, but we were going home at 5:30, and they wanted this meeting at 5:30, I believe, if I'm 5 or 5:30. They coincided with each other, and the comment was made, if I'm not mistaken, that because they called and talked to the staff, not to me directly. That was
That's wrong.
day of surgery.
Okay.
But anyway, they talked to various staff, and I was told that they wanted this room for them, but we were in here, and if anybody stayed after they had spent their full day here, that they would have to be paid overtime, because we don't pay overtime, so they would have to take a day off the next week to stay here for staff. And the comment was made, well, they could just stay on their own and do their own thing, and our staff wouldn't be here to lock it up.
No.
So if that's the only thing I know about.
That's not workable.
Can I make a suggestion then that during the next month, we investigate, maybe we could get some rationale as to why the police jury would like the key, and explain to them in the process, we have communication, and maybe have another report, Madam President, on that?
Be happy
Because I
to.
think we just need more information. And
Or we can even make sure that Doug comes to the next meeting and he's here and he can explain to us the rationale for wanting it that way.
That's fine.
Okay.
I think we need to talk about it.
Okay, I think so
I
too.
agree.
I think, because I can tell right now the feeling is, and it may not be valid for others as I can say, but still. And I guess part of it was, because I said, do you have a key to the district attorney's office, the health clinic,
Ouch.
the tax assessors, the annex?
Ouch.
Huh?
Ouch.
I'm just asking, I'm just, because I wants to know what the kids say,
Well, it sounds like there is a master key set.
that you can get in.
See,
All
we
right.
just need to talk about it. We can be done talking about it. I don't want to keep, so, we're done talking about it with me.
I don't know, we don't know what y'all are doing coming over here. It is a wide open space that you need.
Respectfully submitted, we would like more information.
Okay, respectfully submitted, we will get more information, that we will ask the person
Invite
who's,
him to come to the.
that's what we're gonna do, yes, ma'am.
He's usually here. I don't know where he is. They would love to be here. They're all tied up. Logan and Kevin and Doug went in 3 different directions and left me holding the bag.
Good, you're doing a good job.
Thank you.
Does not sound like he was asking for permission to just willy-nilly have meetings, was it? I didn't get that.
Madam
Anyhow.
President,
Yes, sir.
this sheet that our director gave us is what I'm talking about.
Is that what you're asking me for?
Yes,
Okay.
this, we have not, I checked with Hazel, we've not got one of these before.
No, I put that because I felt like that's maybe what you wanted, but I didn't know.
This is exactly what I want. It's nothing on here that is confidential, but it simply shows, we call them at the school board, point of interest.
Okay.
That's the name of it, and it shows who is shuffled to where and why, who resigned and why, and it lets us know, number one, the people that we are involved in. So if you will continue this, then whatever notes you may have on what I had requested earlier about us being involved, this is it. I just didn't see it.
Is that enough information?
Yeah, this is.
Well, I would like to have a further discussion with the director about something, so I'll talk with her a little later on about that, if you don't mind. Okay, FEMA generator for the event center.
I spoke with, I left a voicemail with Kip to tell him that we were interested in obtaining a.
Kip, who's that?
Kip Franklin,
Kip
he's the head
Franklin?
of Homeland Security
Okay, Kip
in the
Franklin.
parish, and he's the one in charge of the FEMA generator situation. I left him the voicemail, and he got back with me and said that he would let me know as soon as he had some information for me.
Okay.
And that's as much as I know. That happened yesterday.
Okay,
That's the generator.
yeah.
And I just think that if the federal government is going to
Give.
provide these things, I want us to give them to the pot to get
Us.
our share. And you had mentioned earlier, you thought that the other one could do both, but we don't know. If an electrician comes out and says so, well, then that's fine. But if not, I mean, suppose you had a big shindig going on here and the power went out.
And it has happened one time before.
I think it would be something good for us as a facility.
And now, because we have so many tornadoes and hurricanes and other things, we'll just be right on target with having
Yeah.
a backup that's really functional. Okay, other business, anybody else? May I make a suggestion? For the next meeting in December, can we meet on December 9th, ahead of the huddle and bustle of Christmas? If that's okay with you? Okay?
It's okay with me.
All right, well,
Okay with me?
sounds like this has been such an invigorating meeting, scintillating discussions and comments. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
I second.